Democrats just moved the needle 25 points in one of the reddest districts in America. They also flipped a mayor's seat in a historically Republican Milwaukee suburb. They expanded the liberal majority on the Wisconsin Supreme Court, and they've been flipping mayoral seats in Omaha, Miami, and Boca Raton. But also, the Republican in Georgia still won. Trump's endorsement still carried the day, and you have voters still showing up to say that, Trump endorsed him, and so that's good enough for me. And so you have this question of, is the blue wave real, or is it just noise? And well, at least part of the answer, it's going to depend on whether the war in Iran keeps eroding Trump's golden ticket before November. Right, and so where we'll start is with Georgia, where Republican Clay Fuller won the special runoff to keep Marjorie Taylor Greene's old seat red.
There's probably one more man that I should say thank you to. I'm sure all of y'all have probably heard of his name before. His name is President Donald J. Trump, for elevating my candidacy in our campaign. And I will be on Capitol Hill as a warrior to have his back each and every day.
But as you're well aware, because you're a beautiful bastard and you watch the Monday Philip DeFranco show, the story isn't that a Republican won in a ruby red district. The story is how close it got. This race had no right being a race that anyone should have really even been looking at. Democrat Shawn Harris, he pushed the needle 25 points to the left. Floyd County, it saw a roughly 30-point shift to the left. And in addition to movers, Harris outright won Cobb County, which Trump and Greene carried in 2024.
The Republican Party had to spend almost $2 million in a smear campaign to get this win. They should never have to spend money on a ruby red district. That tells you that things are changing here in Northwest Georgia.
And Harris is right there. They had to pour tons of money into a district that should have been a shoo-in. That's not a sign of strength. That is a warning. And then in Wisconsin, you have the people delivering multiple wins for Democrats. In Waukesha, a historically red Milwaukee suburb where Trump's margin of victory has been closing, Democrat Alicia Halvensleben beat Republican Scott Allen for mayor. And this one was interesting because the city's current mayor is an independent who left the Republican Party in 2021 and was endorsed by Kamala Harris. And you reports saying that this Dem win now, it could be a turning point for the suburb. Then you had the Wisconsin Supreme Court race with Democrat Chris Taylor backed by Barack Obama and Wisconsin Democrats beating Maria Lazar, expanding the liberal majority on a court currently sitting on questions of congressional redistricting and union rights.
Tonight, the people of Wisconsin stood up for our rights and freedoms, our democracy, our elections, and a strong state Supreme Court that will protect the independence of our beloved state. Once again, Wisconsin showed the entire nation that we believe that the people should be at the center of government. And the priority of our judiciary, not the billionaires, not the most powerful and privileged, but the people.
So that could make a significant dent in hot button issues and undo some right-leaning laws passed during the court's 15-year conservative majority. And that's also as Wisconsin Democrats are eyeing 2 congressional seats in a governor's race in November. And then as far as the national picture, right, because this is not just Georgia and Wisconsin, Democrats, they've been flipping mayoral seats in Omaha, Miami, and Boca Raton, along with successful runs in special legislative elections across the country. Now, of course, special elections, they have a smaller turnout than general elections, so you can't draw, a straight line from these results to November, but the pattern we are seeing is consistent. Democrats are outperforming expectations in red and purple territory, and Republicans are spending money defending seats they really shouldn't need to defend. And while he is still very, very toxic to many and actually an increasing number of people, Trump's endorsement is still the most powerful force in Republican primaries. He's essentially been handpicking winners across the country.
President Trump is the most critical factor in our election, and he has made sure that we are going to win. He made sure that he was the ultimate Trump card.
And some voters, they just don't need anything else.
I'm not that familiar with him and his politics. I mean, I'm just not. I know that Trump supports him and that he's the Republican. So that's the way we voted this time.
Trump endorsed him. That's good enough for me.
But that influence, it's also been starting to sour as the war has been dragging on.
It just seems so insane based on what he ran on. I mean, this is why a lot of people feel betrayed, right? He ran on no more wars and these stupid, senseless wars.
It feels like there's this war machine and then our soldiers are put into these spaces and they're just there to serve an America that they believe in. It just feels like it's causing a lot of pain and fear.
Americans can't afford healthcare. Like, why? They don't care about what's happening in Iran. Trump was dumb enough to do it.
You also had Iranian Americans in Wisconsin speaking about the personal toll.
Because of the blackout, there's no way to call them. So they're calling us directly by the phone lines, and the quality of the call is terrible.
And the confusion showed up at Georgia polls too.
It's very confusing. I don't know why we're there, honestly.
But there are still voters standing behind him.
I do wish we could get rid of the Iranians We have a very good president that I think is going to end this war quickly, and we're going to be better off for it.
You know, all of this, it matters primarily for two reasons. One, there's the immediate things like the people that are actually being elected and what they're going to be able to do in those positions. And then two, it gives us an idea of what this means for November, but it also gives us an idea of what this does not mean for November. Democrats are flipping seats. They're closing margins, they're winning courts, and forcing Republicans to spend money in districts that should be safe. But you cannot immediately expect a 25-point swing during the midterms themselves. And while the Democrats, they have the momentum, nothing actually matters if people do not still go out and vote. So if you are assuming victory, do I really need to add my vote? You might end up looking super foolish. Republicans have the incumbency, they have structural advantages. The war in Iran is a big variable that could tip the whole thing because it impacts so many other things. And of course, people are very fickle. And while we are seeing a meaningful trend here and people are showing up, yesterday's successes and failures do not dictate tomorrow's results. It's 8 months to November and everything's in play. Be excited, be hopeful, but do not take your fucking foot off the gas.